Hey everyone, this is your favorite radio host, Corinne Lafont, Between the Lines, the only radio host and your favorite girl. That's what it is. That is what it is, and I'm planting that in your mind today. That is what it is. I'm your favorite radio host, and I'm your only favorite radio host, and I'm your only favorite girl. I got kind of confused here, whatever. Okay, so this is Corinne Lafont again, and I'm broadcasting from the lovely island of Trinidad and Tobago in the Caribbean. And I have with me today Ryan Christian. No. This guy, I mean, there's a story behind it. He's going to share a lot of that with you. But we're talking today about to build a cross. And it's Easter, and people know the significance of Easter. It's like a rebirth, a renewal, building back of your relationship with Christ. For those of you who follow Christ, who believe in Christ. Of course, you always hear me talk about him because I'm in love with him ever so much. And it grows every day, every minute, more and more. Yeah. So this guy is called Ryan Christian. Notice I stress on the name. Christian needs to explain to me how we got the name Christian and why is the name Christian somehow related to build a cross. And then when I show you his website, you're going to see and feel this whole Christianity thing coming out. And he wanted me to do the show today or before Easter or in the Easter period because he's going to be launching his book, etc., etc. So there's a lot of things happening, people, and I believe nothing is by coincidence. Nothing is by coincidence. The name Christian, to build a cross, the story behind the book, everything. Him reaching out to me, getting a booking at this time, nothing is by coincidence. Yeah. I am so happy that he is my, I don't like to use the word final, but this is I don't like to use the word last either, but he's my second guest on the show today, and I'm not doing any more episodes, yes? So I'm glad I have him on so I can talk to him for as long as I want. This is my show, okay? So I can talk to anybody for as long as I want, or as short as I want. So I am going to enjoy talking to Ryan Christian today, and let me share a bit about Ryan, and then we're going to go straight into it. He says here, when he's not building things, you will find him hanging out with his family in the mountains of Colorado or on his favorite lake in North Carolina. He is the founder of Hideout Ministries, providing soul care for missionaries who serve around the world. And like I said, we're going to be talking about building a cross. He's going to be talking about his journey to writing that book. And it is hoped that what he shares is going to resonate with you. Of course, I already know without talking to him that it's going to resonate with me. And on my shows, and I thank God for that, all my shows have been resonating with people in some way or form. And all I want is for my show to be able to impact people's lives. Even if it's one message you can take from it, that it does something for you and you can spread that message out to others. So we're talking to Ryan Christian today. Welcome, Ryan Christian, to Between the Lines.
Hey, thank you. Thank you so much.
Yes.
Thanks for having me.
Oh, it's a pleasure to have you. And let me just share my screen here and bring up your website while we're talking so I can be featuring that. And we're going to be talking about your book, featuring your book, where people can get your book. And of course, he has a lovely 2-minute trailer that I'm going to cut him off in the middle of talking. Just kidding. Just to showcase his trailer. But let's talk to Ryan a bit and get to know who is Ryan Christian. Tell us about Ryan Christian and your journey. And why are you into building a cross, mister?
That's a great question. Well, thank you so much again, Corinne, for having me, and really appreciate your time to give me to speak about this experience. This was an experience. That's what it was, and still is. And yeah, so I was in a really difficult place. This happened a few years ago. Again, like you, I'm a believer in Jesus Christ.
Yay!
Have followed him for a lot of years, and yet, something was still not lined up right with my heart as far as some of my belief systems, the way I believed about who he is. Mm-hmm. And so I was in a position where life got really bad. You know, that happens to all of us. Life can just, sometimes things can happen, right?
Yeah.
And so I had lost my job.
Wow.
I had lost my home.
Yeah.
We had some friends move away. We had some loved ones pass away.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just at a low place in life. I was just at that place where you're waiting for one more thing to happen, right? You're just like, okay,
like what else?
What else can happen here? And this all happened in about a 6-month period.
Mm-hmm.
And I just, I was trying to read the scriptures, and it was just hard. And I was trying to turn to whatever could help me, and it was hard.
Mm-hmm.
And I began to believe a lie about Jesus that I think a lot of us do. And that is, I knew at the time, because the Bible says so, I knew he loved me. I knew that was true.
Mm-hmm.
But what I didn't understand or believe is, does he really like me? Does he actually like me?
But if he loves you, why wouldn't he like you?
Well, because he has to love me.
I thought I love is because he has to. Oh, okay, I get you. Yeah, okay.
It's like your mom has to love you, right?
Yeah, okay.
So, but does he? But does he really want to be with me? Does he really want to be my friend? Does he really want to hang out and know my life? It's that kind of thing.
Yeah.
I struggled with that, and I would hear people talk about, "Oh, Jesus is my best friend," and I was like, it's hard for me to say that at that point in time. Mm-hmm. I didn't know if I believed that. And, so I was struggling, and so this is where I was. This is where the story picks up.
Mm-hmm.
A pastor friend, good man who loves God and loves me and really actually cares about my heart. He asked me to build a cross for his church for their Easter Sunday. Mm-hmm. For their Friday night service, and then their Easter Sunday. Mm-hmm. And I thought, yeah. And he said, "Hey, I'll pay you some money. I know you don't have a job right now. I'll pay you some money." It wasn't a lot, but I was like, "Hey, I'm out of work. Mm-hmm. Take the money, right?" Yeah. So I'm thinking this is going to be simple. I actually build homes for a living. That's I build houses, and I have a ministry as well. But we build houses, so I know what I'm doing. And I thought I'll just slap some boards together. Yeah, drive it down to the church, unload it. This will take about 2 hours in my morning.
He could have hired me. I could slap 2 pieces of wood together, knock, and there's a cross. Sure.
Yeah, it's no big deal.
Put 2 sticks. What the hell?
How hard can this be? Right, yeah.
Right.
So that's what happened. That's where the story started, and it turned into this really short job, and it turned into an event,
Ryan, you're cutting in and out. I'm not hearing you.
Oh, can you hear me now?
Yeah, I'm hearing you. What were you saying?
Oh, so I said this job, the job of building a cross, it started out as a job, and then it turned into an experience.
Yeah.
And the experience changed, it deeply shaped a lot of what I believe now and what I think about who God is and who Jesus is and what he thinks about me. Mm-hmm. And in the book I say this, and it literally happened. It really, this experience is what set me free. To be free to live this soulful life that we talk about. And that's what this did for me. So I wanted to put it in a book to share with my family. And it just, over time, people have asked for it, and they hear the story and they say, "Hey, you got to put that in a book." And so I did, and then they said, "Make more copies." So that's where I'm at. That's why we're here. This is where it.
Well, without
it was a 2-hour job.
Without giving away too much in the book, can you share one significant thing that, from that event, that short-term job turning into an event, that allowed you to answer your own question or answer the question of whether he liked you or your relationship with God?
Sure. Yeah. There's several points where that takes place, and the kind of the arc of my experience, the arc of my character in the book, it really hits about midway through. It's a short book. It's only 50 pages. So, about page 25. And most of the pages are pictures. So it's a picture book. Yeah. But about page 25 or so, about the midpoint, there's a moment where I build this cross. I mean, I literally went out and cut down a tree. I mean, this was a big deal that happened. I was trying to be historically accurate is how it started. But as I kept going through the steps and carrying the beam on my shoulders and experiencing the pain of carrying a cross across, a half mile of terrain and thinking about Jesus, what are you doing here? It just kept building and building. And then about halfway through, there was a point where I knew that I had to add something to this cross to make it historically correct, but also I felt in my heart Jesus was telling me, you need to add this. And most crosses that we see nowadays are shiny and clean, and nothing wrong with that, but that's not the cross of Christ in the sense of that's his cross was bloody and rough and rugged. And so it's hard to even say this, but the truth of the matter is I was asked at the point to add the appearance of blood. And that took me by surprise. How do you do that? This is not something you do every day. So I actually found some red paint, watered it down to consistency. And I put some on the cross where I thought it should go, just a little bit. I just dabbed a little bit here and there. I tried to make it a nice American Christian church acceptable cross, right? It's going to church, right? So, it can't be like, So that's what I'm thinking, right? So I'm thinking it can't be, how much blood can you put on this thing? I mean, it can't be hideous, right? So, people are going to see this in their Sunday dresses, right? So, come on. So I put some on and I stand back, and I don't hear this very often. This doesn't happen to me really very often at all, to be honest with you. I'm pretty conservative. And I hear literally in my mind, that's not enough, Ryan. That's not enough blood. And I looked down at the cross and I could see where his head would have been. I could see where his arms, lacerated arms from the whippings, would have been against the beam. I could see where his back would have rubbed up and down against the post. And I was like, okay. And I just began to add more and more. And I stood up again. And a second time I heard, still not enough. And I was like, really? I actually had a little bit of an argument. I was like, really, Jim?
Yes, that happens.
This isn't enough? Come on. I mean, this is going in a church.
Yeah.
There's going to be children there, Yeah. And there was just this sense, the verse came back, that without the shedding of blood, there's no forgiveness.
Yes.
And so I went back to the barn, and this is in the book. I went back to the barn and I poured more together and water and mixed it. And as I did it, I just began to cry. And you can ask my wife. I'm not a big crier. I want to be.
Don't worry.
Yeah.
It's a man.
Yeah. I'm a stuffer. I stuff my emotions.
Yes.
And I began to cry, and the tears began to drop into this bucket of red paint. And it actually makes me a little bit weepy thinking about it again now, because when I went back to the cross, I just started to pour it. I began to pour the blood onto the cross, and it went into the crevices and the cracks, and it rolled off the edges, and it went into the deep places, and it went into the dark cracks that you couldn't see. I felt like that's what was happening in my heart. And the love of Jesus was just being poured into me, and was being poured as I poured blood on the cross. His love poured into my heart like I'd never had before. And I realized he gave up everything, including all the blood of his body, for the sake of me, because he likes me, because he wants to
like you, right?
He likes me. He really likes it. In that moment of him being on a cross, he liked me.
Mm-hmm.
He wanted to be with me, and this is how it was going to happen. And I just realized that I just, all the years of Bible study and Sunday school, I just never grabbed that, I guess. I don't know. I'm a little slow. I'm not the smartest guy. I'm not the sharpest tool in the shed.
No. It's not a matter of that. It's, you learn things in school. It's robotic. You're forced to go to school. You're forced to do whatever. Mm-hmm. But life skills is really life. Your experience is really learning it out there in the real world. And that is when you start putting the things that you may have learned in school together. Things connect. The dots are connected.
That's right.
And, you talked earlier about losing your job, who died, or who moved away, all the different things. But those things had to happen to you to let go, for everything to be shed from you.
Exactly.
In order for you to be open to whatever was coming to you. And there it was at the opportune time. This pastor is asking you to build a cross. I mean, he could have asked anybody, why you,
Exactly.
Probably because you were a builder, probably because you were out of a job and he's probably feeling sorry for you or whatever. But he came to you and you were like, okay, I'm not doing anything, obviously. How convenient.
Yes.
And he paid you for it on top of that. But of course, he's just expecting a cross. Yeah. He's just expecting a cross, okay? Yeah. Not expecting for you to have such an experience. But God is such a wonderful guy, I'm telling you.
That's right.
Yeah, he is such a wonderful guy. Yeah. He knows how to use people to get the message to you. He knows how to put you through the mill without having to kill you or but he knows how much you could bear, and he puts you through whatever in order for you to be vulnerable to say yes to something at a particular time, because he wants you to say yes to have the experience that you did with that cross, your tears falling in that bucket. You put in that blood on the cross for you to feel and connect with him. He has to make you vulnerable. He has to put you down. A lot of people say, and I mean, I am human too, and you say, why do bad things happen to good people? Or why is this happening to so-and-so? And people don't really understand. You have to be humble. And I find these days, Ryan, people are not humble.
Yeah, right.
People are not humble, and you were humble to accept that opportunity. You were humble when at first when God said to you, that's not enough. You think you're going to kind of sensationalize my sacrifice on a cross and just dab a little thing because of what somebody would say. I died for you. I died for everybody else. This is not something to play with, Ryan. And
yes.
And then when he tell you more and more and you want to go into an argument, you are having this sort of worldly view as opposed to his spiritual view.
That's right.
Right? And he's not into the worldly view. He's into the spiritual view. So you had to have that experience. What did the pastor have to say after you presented him with the final work?
Yeah, he was a little bit shocked.
Just a little.
He's the kind of guy that understands that sort what you just said. So he was actually he actually said that's the most. His first expression was, "That's the most realistic cross I've ever seen." Mm-hmm. And then he said, "This is exactly what this church needs." Mm-hmm. And the church was going through a hard time. They were actually going through, they had been split, and they were actually going through combining with another church that's a church in a hard part of town. Mm-hmm. And the people that come to, it's called the Sanctuary in Colorado Springs. And the people that were going to come to this church from this other church that was kind of combining the churches, these are homeless people. These are drug addicts. These are people that that understand the depth of pain and sin. And what the pastor told me, he said, "Ryan, this cross will speak to those people louder than anything I can say.
Yeah.
And it's still there today. I haven't seen it in a while, but I've heard that it's still up on the front of the, they put it up on front, and it's still there today but it's just amazing how God used it. I thought it was just for me. I was like,
Nope. He's kind of bigger than that. Yeah. He's kind of bigger than that. And when he does things, he does it big, he goes all out. Yep. He either goes big or he goes home, that kind of story. So,
That's right. That's right.
Yeah,
That's
he, as far as I know, when I last spoke to him, he doesn't do anything small. When you look at the Bible, there's nothing small in there.
That's right.
Part in the Red Sea is, it's not an everyday occurrence.
Yeah.
That kind of thing. That's kind of big. That's kind of big. So when he's working and he's working in you, it's never for anything small. It's never. You might think it's for you, but he's just using you, and it's going to be big in you, like it's what happened to you. Your transformation, you realize he does like you. He's not obligated to just love you because, hey, he's God and he's supposed to love you like a parent.
Right.
You realize that he really likes you.
He really does.
Yeah, he's like, Ryan is my boy.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Right?
I have if you don't mind, I have just there's just a little paragraph, if you don't mind me reading this out of the book.
Of course.
It's a response from Jesus to me, and I think it may also be for others, like you're saying. Perhaps those listening right now, this could be for you, because this is what he spoke to me in my soul.
Yeah.
This is where a soulful life idea comes from. So let me just read this, what he said. This is what he told me, so I'll just read it to you. So this is after I built it, after I put the blood on it, I raised the cross up. I looked up, and my eyes were captured by his eyes. I imagined Jesus looking at me, and the more I stared, the more he looked into me. His eyes pierced into my eyes. He captivated my soul, and my soul listened to his words. Ryan, I see you. I know all about you. I know your sin, your pain, your loss, your anger, and your disappointment. You are my beloved, my creation who I long to take care of and provide for. My friend, I died for you, to do what you could not do for yourself, to reconcile your heart to the Father. Everything you need is found in me. I created you for a vital purpose and a destiny. Believe, receive your life from me. The joy that you receive from my presence will be your strength. And Ryan, I'm crazy about you. I really like you, and I've enjoyed hanging out with you today.
Yeah. I like the part where he says crazy about you. Yeah. I'm hearing that, and I can see him jumping up and down for joy. Yeah. When I think about heaven, I'm like, whoa. I've told somebody years ago, I said, people have had near-death experiences and stuff like that. And I said, should I ever have that opportunity, I don't know if I'll be willing to come back. Because, I don't know if I'll be willing. I mean, God will have to say, Corinne, no, I'm not ready for that, and kick me out. I might be having that conversation. I say, I ain't going back.
That's right.
Right?
Yeah.
I ain't going back. And he would have to be insistent and say, Corinne, I'm telling you, you're going back. So,
that's right. I've always felt bad for Lazarus, right? Poor guy.
Yeah. He's like, I was fine where I was.
I was doing great.
Right, I was doing great. Right? But God had a purpose, and I guess he knew why he had to demonstrate that to the people, of who he is, But I always say, if I had that opportunity, I don't know if I want to come back because of what I will see. Now, somebody listening to me saying this might be so pessimistic and say, how do you know you're going to be going to heaven?
Right.
Because I believe that. Because I have a relationship with Christ, and I'm not perfect. because
right.
perfection is a work in progress. There's only one perfect man. But
That's right.
once God sees that you're a work in progress and you're working and you're building your relationship with him, why wouldn't I see his face one day?
Exactly.
Why do I have to think negatively and think, oh, I'm going to go to hell or I'm going to go to wherever? And my intention is that I'm going to heaven, and that's where I'm going.
That's right.
That's where
Well,
I'm going.
Jesus said so, right? I mean, he said that.
Exactly. Exactly. So when you read that and he says he's crazy about you, I know he's very crazy about me. You know, I'm telling you, I'm crazy about him too. I tell people, people say they love God, but I don't love God. I'm in love with him. And there's a difference. Just like how you say,
That's right.
you know, he loves you, but he doesn't like you.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
I love him, but I'm in love with him. And there's a difference. There's a significant difference. And being in love with him makes the relationship so much more. I mean, it's a burning love. Do you understand that? Is a burning desire. It's like if I'm in a relationship with you, Ryan, and you know, I don't see you, I'm like, I'm going crazy. I'm like, where are you? How are you? You know, I'm like,
right.
I want to talk to you all the time. I want to be with you all the time, you know?
Yes.
It's like that. It's like a burning, missing desire.
Absolutely. You're right. And it's a union, right? So like there's a union there. We talk about union with relationships, you know, like you're in union with each other as a married couple.
Right.
Intimate. And that's the difference. Like what you're saying is so true and that's what I missed for so many years. I just thought it was about, you know, read the Bible, believe this stuff, and live your life, right? Yeah, right. And somehow it's going to help me, right? It's going to be helpful.
Yeah, robotics,
yeah. But what's helpful is what you just said. It's Jesus is so committed to me in our relationship that he would allow things to happen to get me to a point of humility. To make me realize his love for me is so vast and great and large. Yeah. And he's crazy about me. And it's just, you know, it's crazy. Crazy.
Yeah, he's
crazy about him. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, he's crazy about you. I love that. Actually, I can just see him jumping up for joy. You know, people don't understand this intimacy, and I think it's a fear too. I think it comes from a point of fear, Ryan, that people are afraid of getting close to him. At one point, I was like that. At one point, I was like that, afraid of getting close to him. I was like, oh my God, if I get close to this man, you know, the things that he's going to do in my life, I'm scared.
Right.
He's so powerful. He's so everything. I'm scared of what he would even ask me to do.
Right.
You know, because when he calls on you, you know, Ryan, you could run and hide, you know, but he knows how to find you.
Yes, he does.
And he's the kind of guy that doesn't really give up. You know, he's a kind of nagger. And he will nag you. He'll tap you on the shoulder. He'll wake you up. He'll tell you in dreams. He'll send people to tell you the message. He does all sorts of things. He will bring a movie on the TV that's not supposed to be on just to give you the message. He will make music play on the radio just to give you the message. I mean, the man is super creative.
That's right. I've heard another friend of mine who says he's wild.
Yeah.
He's wild. You know?
Right.
He's beyond what we can imagine in that capacity. He is persistent.
Oh my God.
Wild about us.
Right. Yeah. And it's like nag, you know, and it's like, all right, okay, I'm gonna do it. And I think that is what happened to Moses too. You think Moses willingly wanted to do what he wanted him to do? No.
No, he didn't. He ran away.
Right? You think Moses was like, listen to me. I am not ready for this. I don't know who you're talking to, but it's not me. Find somebody. Yeah. It's not me. I mean,
let my brother speak. Let Aaron talk for me.
Yeah. Look that guy over there. He's better. I mean, I heard Moses had a stutter, a serious stutter. The man couldn't speak. The man couldn't speak properly, and yet Moses was like, "Look, don't you realize I have a stutter? Look, Ryan over there. Ryan speaks well. Everybody would listen to Ryan, right? You're gonna choose me, and with a crooked stick, right? A man who stutters with a crooked stick move millions of people out of Egypt. Come on, right?" So he's persistent. So I was scared of allowing myself for him to work in me, because I was like, he's going to ask me to do something, and I don't know if I can say yes. And even if I say yes, I don't know if I could live up to his expectations. I don't know about this thing, of being close to this man. He's going to want me to do stuff. That's how he is. Because when you get close to him, he's going to ask you to do things. Right? Ryan, are you still with me? It seems as if Ryan has gone. Let me just check there. Ryan, did I lose you? Oh, it seems as I've lost Ryan. So I hope he calls back in. So I'm going to hold out a bit. I'm going to show his trailer in the meantime, with the hope that he will jump back on. So let's have a look at his trailer for his book.
So this pastor friend of mine, he asked me to build this cross for his Easter service. I've been there to an extent. And the reason I wrote this book is because of this personal experience. This is my story of building a cross, engaging with Jesus, and having my hope restored. This is the place where God's mercy and justice kiss. I built a cross. In doing so, it set me free.
Beautiful, beautiful. Oh my word. Let me see if Ryan is back with us. Yes, and he's just in time. Ryan. Ryan, are you back with us? Let me see if Ryan is back with us. Ryan, I'm not able to hear you. Ryan, are you back with us, my dear? While I wait for Ryan to join me on audio, that was a beautiful trailer of his book, sharing his experience of building the cross. How many people have had an experience of building a cross? You take it simply. You take it simply, but you never know what you can learn from such a simple experience. Just like volunteering and going to help, communities that are in need. You think you're going to help somebody else, but normally.
Hello?
Yes, Ryan. I was just showing your book trailer while you were trying to get back on.
Oh, thank you so much.
Beautiful. So you missed that little movie. You'll have to pay double the price to get into the
Oh, okay. I've seen that movie. I've already seen that movie.
You've seen that movie? Okay, I hope you pay to get in. Okay. And I was just saying that not how many of our listeners or people listening going to be listening to this show, this episode, have ever had the opportunity of building a cross. Not many people, if any. This is a unique experience. And most of the time, like I was saying, when you are going to volunteer your time, especially in communities that need help or in countries that need aid, you think you're doing, it's for you. I'm doing this for you, but I mean, you're doing it for the people, sorry. But when you go there, you realize it's you. It's you that the lessons, the experience is for. You think you're helping other people, but it's you that is getting the help. And that was what happened with you, Ryan. Christian, you think that the pastor, pastor asks you to do something, build this cross, and it's a simple thing. Hey, it's a simple thing to do, knock two pieces of wood together, whatever. But just from that activity, for the church, for the people in the community, you got the most, the major experience from it.
That's right. You're right. Absolutely. And one of the things I'll point out to you, Corinne, is at the back of the book. So the book has the story, obviously. There's the story. And then there's something called the blueprint at the back of the book. And it's just a few pages. And one of the things, I put this in here, and what the blueprint is, it's actually an experiential portion that you can do individually or with your family or with friends or with your church group. But what it is actually it starts out with an opportunity to build a smaller version. You don't have to build the full-size version.
Right.
But it's a smaller version, like a table-size version of a cross. And I go through how to do that, and then there's questions. And it's really an experiential part of, I hope that if people do buy the book or look at the book, that they could not just read my story, but they could also engage in their own experience and story of doing that with Jesus.
Yeah.
And so this is why we put the blueprint in the back, to encourage what you just said.
Yes.
For others, because this is it's what you said earlier about sometimes the story, we hear it so often that we just kind of become maybe numb to it. It just kind of becomes another story. It's just, this happened at Easter. I hear this story in church. And the truth of the matter is, if this is the story that changes our lives, don't we want it to be personal again?
Yeah.
Right? Don't we want this to be personal and experiential and continuously every day of our lives that we're like, yes.
Yeah.
So anyway.
Is that a river I'm hearing in the back?
No, that's our little, no, River's passed on. That's our little dog. That's our little dog, Tucker. He's our little hound dog.
I see you have a Soulful Life cup here. Give us a quick story about that.
Yeah, Soulful Life. So the book is a Soulful Life series. I hope to eventually, perhaps, if God calls me to it, to write a prequel and a sequel to this book, which would be concerning the Seder dinner, or the Last Supper, the communion dinner, and then perhaps to do one about the resurrection as well. There's some stories that surround those things. That's for another time, though. But so anyway, so this is a Soulful Life series, and what's happened to me in my life is, since this experience, my wife and I have a ministry for missionaries.
Beautiful.
And we just love missionaries. We think the world of missionaries, what they do, what they give up. But one of the things we've noticed with engaging with missionaries is what we've been talking about. And that is, they go to a foreign country and they want to do a lot of great stuff for God, right? They want to do things for God. And there's nothing wrong with that. But in doing so, they lose, a lot of them, we find out, they lose a part of their soul. Like they lose a part of their soulful life living. Like they forget the whole reason they're over there, that their own soul is important, right? They keep saying it's about other souls. We got to save souls, and that's true.
Yeah.
But you can't do it at the expense of your own soul.
Yes.
And that's where I was. I lived my life with a real, just, a soul that I wasn't living from my soul, my true soul that Jesus has given me, my true self, the person he's making me into, like you mentioned earlier. And so as I look in the scriptures, as I look at the word of God, as I look at what Jesus said, one of the things that really just grabbed onto, this is in the last few years, is when Jesus, in John 11, Jesus talks about being a vine, and we're branches. And if we're disconnected from that vine, then our source of life is gone, right? So it's like, wow.
Yeah.
That's pretty powerful.
It is.
I understand that illustration. That makes sense to me.
Oh.
So I just kind of started talking about, my wife and I, we started talking about, hey, it's like a soulful life. It's like the life of Jesus, the Zoe, right? The Greek word for life is Zoe. So it's the Zoe life that flows from Jesus, from the vine, into me, the branch.
Yeah.
And it's a daily thing.
Yeah.
It's a daily thing. So that's where a soulful life comes from. And it's just kind of a term we've coined. I mean, it's not, we didn't make it up. It's been around, but we just kind of use it to talk about this whole thing that we live now. We want to live a soulful life with Jesus.
Yeah.
And the three words that we use are engaged.
Yeah.
We want our hearts to remain engaged with Jesus, connected.
Yeah.
So connected to the vine every day, every moment of the day. Yeah. Stay connected. Remain. Yeah. And then the last word is free. Yeah. And I found that if I live engaged with my heart and I stay connected to Jesus, that I actually get to live free.
Yeah.
Free of the struggle of, the man, I should have done this better. I should, all that's, all the shame, right? All the shame of life. I get to live free of that. Yeah. I don't have to live like that. It's a choice. We make a choice, actually. So.
Yeah, it's a choice. And the beauty about it, I always tell people, the one thing with God is that he doesn't force his love on us. We have free will.
Exactly. Right.
Free will. Yeah. Free will. He doesn't force you to love him, But he loves you whether or not you love him. And he waits. He's a patient man. He will sit there and he will wait because one day you're going to come to him one day, and he remembers your name too. One day, right. So he gives you free will. So if you're not ready to be connected, to be soulful, to stay close to that vine, that's fine. He's okay with that.
That's right.
He's good.
That's right.
But it's you who keep struggling, having these little inner struggles within yourself, trying to do the DIY approach, do it yourself.
I like that. Yeah, that's good.
Right. Yeah, the DIY approach. Yeah, that's all fine. He leaves you to do all that. Yeah. Yeah, he's good like that, because I've been there. We all have been there, the do-it-yourself approach.
Yes.
When you realize the DIY approach isn't working, and you're like, oh, I give up. This is not, then you find God last. He's the last resort when he should really be the first resort.
Right.
To save you. But we use the term we are humans as if it's an excuse. And I have since changed that and stopped using that. I'm not going to use the fact that, oh, I'm just a mere mortal, I'm just human. No, that's not good enough. It's not good enough. That's just an excuse. I have to step up my game because he planted what I need within me. And I have everything. I have powers like him. We all are little demigods, little gods like him. We might not have the superpowers like him, but we are his creation. So we have the ability to connect to him in ways that other people may not want to. So when we start to connect is when we start to transmute and those powers become even stronger. Why wouldn't I want those kind of powers?
That's right. And that's the soulful life, right? That's exactly what you're talking. What you're talking about is living that choice that you just said. You make that choice, you connect to him, and his power now comes through you. Right?
Yeah.
And that's a soulful life. Like What else do you want? It's what everybody wants, right?
Nothing. I am good. I'm so
Right.
I am flying high. I am like, yeah, I got powers. I got
That's
powers.
right.
And you know, he reveals things to me. I mean, the thing is so crystal clear. He gives me visions, that he reveals things to me, and when it happens, I just look up and I'm like, you know, you're not easy, you know, you really, you know, and I just smile. And then later in the night or during the day, I have the conversation with him about, you know, how the day went, and you know, I followed what he told me, and
Mm.
oh yes, I resisted him and I tried to negotiate. You know, I have that little evaluating kind of discussion at the end of the day.
Right.
And then, you know, I say
Yeah.
I'll do
Yeah.
better tomorrow. And, you know, so it's a constant thing, but people don't understand when you're talking with God, that conversation, prayer to me is like talking to your best friend. You know, you talk like how you would pick up the phone
Yes.
and call up and say, hey, what you up to? You know, what you doing? Let's hang
Yeah.
out. You know, and you just
Yep.
talk about your problems, your BFF, you're confident, and you just share and you say, what do you think I should do? You know, that kind of, that's my prayer, the conversations.
Exactly.
And because I'm so connected to the vine, I don't really have a problem getting through on the call. I don't have a problem. There's no,
Exactly.
I'm not on hold music. I'm not in line. I'm
That's
direct.
good.
Yeah, I'm not on hold music. I'm not in queue or anything. It's a direct connection.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, and that's what we were talking about earlier before I was disconnected. We were talking about just that union with Christ.
Yeah.
What you're talking about right now, it's union with Christ. It's the best friend. It's the intimacy. It's the relational.
Yeah.
And that's why we always say, you hear us say, hey, this isn't a religion, people. You know, the cross wasn't about let's establish a religious organization with the cross. No. The cross was personal. The cross, I mean, the blood of Jesus was personal. It was his blood, right? Poured out for me. And he hung on a cross in a public place.
Wow.
Right? This wasn't a private thing. It was a public execution in front of the world.
Yeah.
And he had no clothes on, for crying out loud. I mean, this is
embarrassing. Embarrassing.
The shame of it. And Jesus, I mean, he took all of that on himself. He took my shame, my embarrassment, my sin, my issues. And that's what's so incredible to me about when we talk about the union with Christ.
Yeah.
He could have done it. I mean, you know, I don't know how God, I guess there could have been other ways. I don't know, but there wasn't. There was this way, and it was personal.
Yeah.
And that's why the cross is always the point of Christianity that we turn to and we go back to.
Yeah.
Because of the cross, we can do the things we're talking about right now, right? The union, the connectedness, the power.
Yeah.
Because of the cross, it always comes back to the cross. It just does.
Yeah. We talk about the vine and the branches, and you know, when you were talking about it, what the image that came to me is, you know, we go through different seasons, like you guys in the States and different parts of the world. I mean, in the Caribbean where I am, we don't have the various seasons of winter and stuff, and we have mainly summer right here around, you know. You have,
I like that. I'll come join you. It's winter now here.
I know, right? Well, it's summer right around the year for us. So with a branch and a tree, I'm visualizing a branch and a tree, and you're going through winter, preparing for winter. You know, things get dry, desolate, no leaves. The branches kind of get dry and break off. Everything just looks dead and dreary until spring comes, and you know, things start to grow back again. Some of us stay in the winter. Some of us break off from that vine. Some of us break off and dry and just pop off, as opposed to holding on. Some of us, I mean, another way of looking at it is that our life is just like the seasons. We go through, just like why people call life seasons. This is a season coming now.
Right.
Dry season, a season of spring, where, you know, there are times in your life where things are happening. Just like when you lost your job, people were moving. That wasn't a spring season. That wasn't something to really celebrate. but
Right.
in a way, but you were losing things at that time. It was a dry spell. So we have to go through seasons in our life. We have
Yes.
to go through different things and appreciate that it don't matter how long it takes, it will come to an end. And there will be a season of harvest, a season of spring, a season of,
Yeah.
it will come. Because just as
Yes.
night turns to day, there must be light at some point.
Exactly.
You know. So
Yep.
it's significant what you're here to share today. And I'm glad. I mean, it's so, as I said, there's no coincidence. When you drop off the call, I was able to play that trailer, and I'm like, God, I'm playing this trailer, and he's gonna get back on just in time, as I'm finished with the trailer.
That's right.
So I was able to talk.
Perfect.
Perfect. I'm telling you, he's good like that. The man is good like that. So for you to have a trailer on your website just worked perfectly. I mean, this is
Oh, good.
awesome. How are things with your life now? And in closing off, what would you say to people? What would be the one thing that you would say to people, especially as we're in the Easter season now? What would you say?
Yes. Yep. Yeah. Yeah. I want to, obviously we've been talking about my story and of building across, engaging with Jesus, having my hope restored. And what I want to tell audience listeners right now is I hope that's helpful. But what I really want is to invite. I want to invite you, and I wish I could give these away for free, because I would, because I want to invite people into this. I want others. I want you out there to be invited along, to participate, and to find out what Jesus might be offering you during this season, during this Easter season, that this would be a rekindling season. This would be, like Corinne has talked about, a season where perhaps you don't know Jesus. Maybe you've been astray. Maybe you've walked away. Maybe you feel like Jesus has walked away.
Yeah.
There's all sorts of places where people are, and I understand that because I've been there. And so I just want to invite people back to this idea of the cross and to maybe relook at it, check it out again. Look at it from a different angle. Yeah.
What's the worst that can happen?
Exactly. What do you have to lose,
right?
What
do you have to lose, right? I mean,
right.
If he's not who you think he is, walk away. No problem. You have nothing to lose.
Absolutely. But the upside is great, right?
Oh, yeah, for sure. You might be surprised. You might be getting things you didn't expect, So, and
you're right.
Yeah.
I was just going to say, you're right, Corinne, that, you've mentioned this several times today, that Jesus is God, the Father, Jesus, and the Holy Spirit. They are the great inviters. They're the best inviters of all time. They love to invite us. Mm-hmm. They invite, and they keep on inviting, right? They tap on the heart, knock on the door. Hey, Ryan, you want to come out? Yeah. You want to come out? And I love that Jesus is an inviter. He loves to invite me, and he wants to invite you. He wants to invite all of us.
He's crazy about you. He's
crazy about us.
He's crazy about you. And the cross in itself is symbolic of opening your arms, inviting. Just look at the cross. And just like you said, his arms are open wide, just like the cross.
That's right.
He's waiting for you. He's waiting for you, the man of patience of all time. He's waiting for you. It don't matter how long you take. He waits. He waits. When we would get fed up and throw in the towel, he waits.
Absolutely. I love that.
He waits. Thank you, Ryan. Christian.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for having me.
Ryan. For being on my show, Between the Lines. I had a wonderful time talking and sharing the love of my life with you.
Me too.
The love of my life. I just get so excited when I talk about him, when I feel him. I get really, really excited.
What show?
Yes,
It
it brings
shows.
tears. Yes, it brings tears to my eyes when I think about him.
Mm,
That's the kind of love I have, you know, and I really want to
right.
extend and repeat what you said to, invite, he's inviting you. He doesn't force you, he invites you. He's like, come in, come.
Yes.
Yes, come in. So it's up to you to just walk right in. His door is always open. I don't think he has a key for that door, but his door is always open.
That's right.
Go in and check him out. See what he has to tell you. See what he has to share. You have nothing to lose. Thank you again, Ryan Christian, for
Thank you so much.
sharing your experience, sharing um, your life with us, opening up yourself and being vulnerable, and opening up yourself and being vulnerable to God and what he has done for you. And I just hope that those
Mm,
listening and those who will be listening would also benefit from the same and more. Thank you for being on Between the Lines.
thank you so much.